We are going to be talking today about frameworks, and frameworks may be something that you're like, okay, I'm not really sure what frameworks are. Frameworks are really going to be the backbone of your business because once you have frameworks in your business, it's going to make it so you can automate things. It's going to make it so much easier to take something and then deploy it into your clients' businesses. And it's going to save you so much time. Think of this as like your own personal cheat sheet that you could then go into a business and you can offer solutions, and the solutions are really already done for you. How amazing would that be? So, we've already talked about how important it is to offer solutions to your clients. So, you have the problem that you solve, you talk about the different solutions that you have, but you may be thinking, well, offering solutions sounds great, but what if I don't know how to do some of those solutions, or I don't even know what the solutions should look like? And this is where frameworks come into place. Frameworks are going to really revolutionize the way that you are doing your business. So let's first talk what is a framework. So a framework is going to be a certain way that you're going to accomplish a goal. So let's take client onboarding, for example. That is, we can create a framework around that, around client onboarding. So if we look at what this would be, we would say, all right, we have a client that's going to come in. Well, what's going to happen next? What's the first thing that needs to happen? So maybe they need to get a welcome email sent. You start listing all of that out. If any of you have ever attended one of our boot camps, then you know this is creating a business process framework, right? That's what we want to be able to create. If you haven't attended one of our boot camps, we do have one coming up soon. You can go to operationselevated.com/strategic-edge and get registered for our next boot camp. We actually offer certifications in this on how to create frameworks. So you can be a business process specialist, and we have all the information there, so you can go check that out. But when creating this framework, so we're taking this client and we're saying, okay, they're going to be onboarded. They need to have a welcome email. They need to sign a contract. They need to get access to a portal, access to a community, like whatever it is that needs to happen during that onboarding process. And a lot of the times people think, well, that's it. That's all they need. But when it comes to client onboarding, if we're talking about an entire framework, we want to think, okay, well, what is the outcome that we're looking towards? So someone is joining us, what's the outcome we're looking for? Well, really, the outcome I would say in any business is we want that client to become a raving fan. We want that client to become someone who is going to be a brand advocate for us. So how do we do that? This is part of a client onboarding, yes, but it's actually a whole client journey looking at this of if we want them to come in and we want them to end as one of those raving fans. So what does that look like? So by creating a framework of these are the steps that someone needs to take in order to get that outcome. And then once you have this mapped out and you can then deploy this into someone's business, you could become a client journey expert. And so whenever anyone is looking for help in creating their client journey, you already have this all mapped out. You know exactly how to do it. And you can then just put it into your own business, but also offer this as a solution to all your other clients' businesses. And that's one of the things that makes creating these frameworks so powerful, is because it doesn't matter what industry you're in. If you look at it at a very high level, that 30,000-foot view, and say, what are the steps that need to be taken in order for that outcome to actually happen? Then you can create that framework, and then you just put that framework. Yes, there's going to be nuances in each one of the businesses, but you have that framework done. So another framework that you could create, I want you to start thinking through some of the processes that you do in your business. So client onboarding is one, client offboarding is another one. You could also do, I was talking with a client the other day about podcasts and like, what do you do for a podcast? How do you produce a podcast? And we kind of use this as an example when we were talking about solutions, but if someone wants their podcast produced, what are all the steps that need to take in order for that podcast to be able to get the most ears listening to it. Or if you're sticking it on YouTube, the most eyes. So you can create a process that this podcast has to go through to get the best possible outcome. When you think of it that way, then you're going to start seeing some holes that maybe you wouldn't have in the past. And my favorite way to do this in mapping out a process is I use ClickUp. So ClickUp is one of my favorite tools. And in ClickUp, they have a function that is called a whiteboard. On that whiteboard, you could actually draw out what this process looks like. So I usually start with a circle, and that circle means that that's the starting point of this process. So what is the thing that's going to trigger this process? So if it's in client onboarding, it'd be a client signs up. If it's in podcast, it would be that like it could start at an idea, or it could start that the podcast is recorded. So one of those would be what would start this process. And then we want to think of the end goal. What's the outcome of this process? So we're going to stick the outcome at the end. If it's client journey, we want them to become raving fans. If it is a podcast, we want to have like the most downloads on that episode. So then we can start filling in the holes. What's the gap between the two? And then I just take little squares and I like make it so it looks like milestones all the way across the screen of, okay, what are all the different things that have to happen in order for that outcome to come true? Once you have that done, then you can start creating SOPs. So an SOP is a standard operating procedure. This SOP is going to tell how to do one thing in that process. So if it is a whole client journey, maybe it's how to conduct a welcome call. That's one of the SOPs. It could be how to answer a certain question when it comes in through the help desk around this client. It could be, if we're looking at a podcast, it could be how do you edit the podcast? How do you create social media posts for the podcast? So it's thinking that how to actually do the tasks that are going to then attribute to that end goal that we're working towards. So when you have all of this together, especially if you have all the SOPs done, think of how amazing it would be if you had a client who reached out to you and said, I really want some help with my podcast. And you're like, great, I have an entire system that I can just deploy right into your business right now, where you will have every episode be set up for the best possible scenario to get the most downloads and be able to be seen across all your platforms. And I can deploy that into your business with all the SOPs so your team knows exactly how to do it, or that's something that I can come in and do. How amazing would it be to have that as a solution that you can then offer? Now, I know what you're thinking. I'm sure you're thinking, okay, Brooke, this sounds amazing, but how am I going to come up with all of these solutions? Like, it's a lot, because there's lots of different ways to run a business, and there are lots of different processes in a business that you need. Well, I have a solution for you, and the answer is called the Optimized Network, or we call it the Ops Network. Inside the Ops Network, every single month, we take one business process. So we look at the entire process, what's going to trigger this process to start, what is our outcome that we want to have, and we map out all of those milestones. Then my team takes that process and creates all the SOPs for you. We also look at KPIs, which are key performance indicators, because we want to know that that process is actually working. Because just because you put it on paper and you say this is what it's going to do, that doesn't necessarily always mean that is what is going to happen. And so what we do is we look at what are some ways that we can make sure that this process is working. Now, if you came to any client and you said, oh yes, I have a process for that, or yes, I have a framework for that, and you can tell them that you have all the SOPs and you also have the KPIs to make sure that that process is working, like no one is talking about that. You can have all of this in your back pocket done for you because my team does it all for you, and you get a new process every single month. How amazing is that? So every single month, we are giving you a new solution that you can turn around and then offer to your clients, either clients that you have, or you have a new tool now or a new solution that you can go out and market to other people and get more clients because you have these solutions and you don't have to do any of the work to create them. All you have to do is take them and then you can deploy them into your client's business. Then, of course, you do have to tweak it a little bit because, like I said, every business is a little bit different. So if you are interested in becoming a member of the Ops Network, we would love for you to join us. Normally it's $147 a month. So if you go to theoptimizednetwork.com, that's what you're going to see. That is $147 a month. But because you are here, we have a very special present for you. So we are offering annual membership. So you can join for an entire year for just $697. That's it. So I don't even know how much that savings is. Thousands of dollars you're going to be saving for just $697. And I want you to think how much you can actually make by offering these solutions. There are people inside the Ops Network that for one solution, for let's say it's a client journey that you're offering, you can have the entire client journey and client onboarding all mapped out with all the SOPs and KPIs. And they say, yeah, I can deploy that into your business. No problem. It's $697. Then you have the entire year paid for by selling one solution to one client. That's it. So we would love to have you a part of our Ops Network. If you are interested in joining us, all you need to do is go to www.optimizenetwork.com/2025. When you go there, it will tell you everything that you're going to get inside the Ops Network, and it also will have that link that you can sign up. Now, this is only good until the end of the month. So if you are ready to take your business to the next level, you want us to help you for the whole next year creating solutions for your clients, we will do it for you. And then you can just take that and deploy it into your clients' businesses. You need to be a part of this. So you can go to www.theoptimizednetwork.com/2025. I'm so excited for this. All right, so I want you to leave a comment under this video, and I want to know, what is your biggest takeaways from this? How has this idea really opened up your eyes to what is possible in your business for 2025? I'm excited to hear your takeaways, and I cannot wait to see you tomorrow on our next training.